number 5 will make you go, oh really? She's saying that? Really? Stay with me again. Yeah, that should be your reaction. You're seeing in your face again, that beautiful face in your face again. Thank you for watching last week. Welcome to my YouTube channel this week. Today we'll be diving into the world of personal finance. You all should know how much I like to talk about finance, and today's topic is one that is quite touchy and as well very important to your life, to your all-round life. I mean, if you don't get this right, every other sphere and part of your life can be affected because it is that important. We are going to be debunking common money myths today. So stay with me, because point number 1 will make you go, yeah, I've been hearing this a lot of recent. Let me give you a very good reason why you should stay with me. Are you not scared? I mean, are you not really scared about the future? I know there's this word that goes around that says the future will take care of itself. The future will not take care of itself. In fact, I believe that the average Nigerian has enough walking cautionary tales all around us to want us to sit tight. Because I have enough people around that you be like, nah, I don't want to be like that person growing up. Nah, my kids must have rich parents. Nah, I didn't come from rich parents, but my kids will have rich parents. You know, we have enough people around us to make us go, I don't want to end up like that. When you have these things around you, you should be one of those that should be sitting tight when it comes to money. Listen, a poor dad started from a young youth that made very poor choices with money. You still have time. Don't mess it up. So let's get right into it. The first very common money myth that I'm sure that you had growing up, or you've thought of at some point, or you've heard your friends say at some point, they'll tell you, oh, there's still time, come on, live your life, is that investing is not for the young. I mean, you need to grow to a certain age before you begin to invest. Stay with me. Busted. Yes, bust that myth. It's not going to help you. It's not going to take you far. Because investing should start from when you are young. Remember what I said earlier, that it was a poor dad. A number of you should have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? A poor dad, right, begins with a youth, a very young youth that made poor money choices. So it means that those people that you see grown up now, you're wondering, what did they spend their life doing that they are living like this at their old ages? They started from when they were young. They didn't just become 60 or 50 and then they became poor, or they decided to live a life of struggle, or they began to depend on their children so much that their children begin to ignore their phone calls. No, started from when they were extremely young. So investing is not for the old or for the middle-aged or for the whatever age that you have in your head. As little as 18 years, you can begin to invest. What am I talking about? There are parents that immediately their kids are born, they have an account opened in their names to put in their trust funds. They have stocks opened in their names for them to begin to deposit. And then when they grow to like a particular age and they begin to make money for themselves, they hand over their stock portfolio to them. Because they want their children to live a life of affluence, a life of comfortability. So investing is not for the old. Start now. Start early. To live the life of your dreams, you need to have worked for it. I mean, worked for it way before, long before. There is no overnight success. It only looks overnight because the whole thing is looking beautiful. But trust me, there's been years upon years of discipline, years upon years of commitment. So you need to have years upon years of investing if you do not want to become a walking cautionary tale to the next generation. You don't want to be that uncle that the younger ones will gossip about and be like, what did he spend his years doing? Or even if they've even heard your story, I'll be like, I heard when he was younger, he used to have a lot of money. He bought cars, he was in his prime. How did he manage money? How did he spend his money? You don't want to be that person because you'll be so full of regret. So, myth what? Busted. Myth number 2. I want to say this in the Nigerian form. I'm looking for the best way to phrase it. I'll have called it the latte myth, but I want it to be so relatable. The latte myth is about when people say, oh, it's not the small expenses that will affect your finances. It's like the big spending. So, oh, buy that small thing. Oh, buy that shawarma today. That 2K will not make you rich. Well, yes. But when you buy that shawarma today, you buy that shawarma tomorrow, you buy it next tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, trust me, those little 2K, 2,500 for shawarma will affect your finances. So it's not these big things that affect your finance on a larger scale. I mean the little things, the very little things, the minute things. That pizza today, that pie tomorrow. If you're not watchful of these things, they will eat into a chunk of your finance, and trust me, they will leave you in a place that you do not want to be. So bust that myth, right? And even the littlest of your spending, you need to know where it is going to and be intentional about where it is going to, because it will form the bigger picture. Are you with me? Which leads us to the third myth. They will say budgeting is only for those that are bad with money. I beg to disagree. If I don't beg, I'm disagreeing with you, because if you do not budget, my dear, you are only going to make your money go into places that you didn't plan for it to go, and you will not address the main things you should address with money. I mean, you won't take care of your needs, right? You only take care of your wants because you just feel like, okay, I earn and I feel like I spend quite okay and I still save quite okay. So why do I need to budget? You need to budget. Track every single expense. I have a group on WhatsApp called the Money Moves group, and if you want to join that community, you are so very welcome. I've had amazing testimonies. I do just personal finance, right? I might not take you to the big part of doing some big financial decisions like, oh, I have $1 million, what do I do with it? I take you from the grassroots, right? Okay, you have this 50,000, 100,000, 200, 500, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million. What do you do with it? That's what we do in the personal finance group. We grow from scratch. I talk about budgeting, how to budget, the tools to use in budgeting. So in that group, my community on WhatsApp, I've had testimonies of I give them a budgeting tool, and I've had splendid testimonies of those that say thank you for that tool. I mean, I track my everyday expense. I know where my money is going to daily. I mean, as little as my data cost, whatever it's I'm buying, little transport, it is tracked so that you know how much you are spending. You know why this is great? This is great because when you want to save up for your emergency fund, which is like one of the things that we're talking about next. If you don't know how much your living expenses month after month is, you won't know how much to put aside for emergency fund. I've said it in my videos previously, that it should be like 3 months worth of your living expenses. But if you're not tracking how much you spend day to day, how would you know what a month worth of your living expenses is? Not talk of 3 months of your living expenses. Are you with me? So track it. You need to track it so that you will know whether or not, as you get more financially literate, you know that my money is going into this particular thing too much. I can't cut it down. It will help me have a better financial life. The fourth one today has to do with emergency funds, right? You hear people say, my emergency funds save me the next day. How did you say that in Nigeria? Like, I save today and it saves me the next day, right? That's a myth of, or if you put money aside, man, you have something that will just come up and just take the money from you. Bust it. It shouldn't be so. And one thing that can help you do that is when you track your expenses, right? And when you are sure that you know where every cover is going to. And when you are intentional about spending for your needs and not your wants. Look, between you and I cannot decide for you what your needs and your wants should be or how much you should spend. But one thing you and only you know is how much you earn. You know your take home. Please be honest with yourself. Nobody will be honest with you as you should be with yourself, because you are you at the end of the day, and nobody's going to come to save you at the end of, even if somebody is bankrolling you or sending you money, there's still a limit to how much involvement that person can have in your life as pertaining to money. I mean, The quality of your life will not change except you change it first. Do you understand me? So be honest with yourself and sit yourself down and check your financial books. I mean, I don't mean make it huge. Don't stress with all the mathematics. I mean, as little as what you spend day in, day out. If you're transferring any money, please write the description. Don't just transfer money and just let it go that way, because if you're trying to track your money later, you'll be confused of where the money went, right? What did I spend this for? So every single money you are transferring, in the description box, write it there. POS for ice cream, to mommy. I sent money to my parents and I'll say to my family, so I'll know what is going to. Do you understand? So make sure that every single transfer you make has a description, so that you can effectively track where this is going and where that is going. So back to that emergency fund I talked about. If you begin to save and you want to be very intentional about making your finance better, your financial life better, don't save today and pack it all tomorrow because you're on Instagram and then you saw Burger King, or you saw one new restaurant and you want to try that. You should just go and withdraw your savings. Most times our emergency is not saving us from emergency. I'm talking to you, talking to myself. So we need to be smarter and wiser. Buy it only if you really need, especially when you know that your finance is quite small. I mean, you are quite handicapped in your finance. You're not wealthy yet. You can't even build a rich life from that kind of spending. Because trust me, I know you've heard this several times online, but the wealthiest of the wealthy, people that have so much to spare, they still live very frugal. They have so much, right? But they don't even spend, they don't lavish. That's another talk of me and you that are still trying to build much. So if you don't have that attitude now, you won't even get to that wealthy place. It won't even happen. Alright? So immediately your emergency savings will save you the next day. The fucking way. You can actually be smart enough to make your emergency savings emergent. This is the point where I say, if you are learning, tap that subscribe button. Yes, just subscribe already. Share this video to your friends, to your family, so that person that you know is terrible with money and you're worried about them. Just share. Pam the link. You can find me on Instagram with at unusual_esosa. Everything will be in the caption part. All right. Next thing I will be talking about now is debt. Maybe I should make that my final one because I don't want to overwhelm you with this video. Let me talk about debt. So in my previous videos, I've talked about how debt can be really bad, right? And that you should try your best not to borrow. And I also spoke about debt repayment strategies, how you can borrow. Go and check out the videos. I might actually link them up right in the caption. So aside that, right, you can also use debt for good. If you're abroad, your debt form could be your mortgage, your credit cards. Yes, basically. But if you're in Nigeria, the way I can say you can use debt for good is that if you want to loan for a business, please be sure that first off, you cannot bootstrap the business. Be very sure that you cannot bootstrap, and maybe you cannot start very small. There's some industries that no matter how you want to feel like you want to use your money to run it, you cannot. You need to like source for funding, right? Then and only then can debt be good. But make sure that whatever you are borrowing for, you have a plan for it. You have looked 5 moves ahead on how to plan for that money. Be intentional about that. Very, very intentional. Very, very. So the last myth is this one that they say, stop enriching your landlord. Please, girl, please, guy, please. There are some house owners that have broke. They are second to broke, so broke. Meanwhile, if they had not had that thought of, oh, I'm enriching my landlord, I don't want to pay rent anymore, I want to buy land and then build a house. I sell real estate, and I tell people every single time, your first land does not have to be where you build on, because most times when people buy their first land and they struggle to build it, and then they just cut the flow of they cut that cash flow potential, because they just want to build. Like, people are just so obsessed with saying, I want to live in my house. I mean, if you want to think like an investor, think like somebody that has this money and wants this money to grow into this, right? You don't need to think that you must build your house, or renting is you're making your landlord rich by renting. Don't think that. The myth. If you're abroad and you're taking mortgage, I've given this advice several times in my Money Moves community on WhatsApp. Join that community. You need to join. text me with my WhatsApp link and come and ask me how to join. You're missing out on a lot. I tell them that when you're taking a mortgage loan, you don't need to take a mortgage loan and actually live in the house. Why not take a mortgage loan, return your rented apartment? Are you listening to me? Take a mortgage loan and then put somebody, take a tenant in it. The money the tenant pays you monthly, you can use it to take care of make sure that your rent is not overboard. So use it to take care of your rent. Remember, we say live frugal, right? Use to take care of your rent and still be using the other part to repay the mortgage. If you can do this over time, I know somebody that did that, and even after she was done repaying the first mortgage, she got another mortgage. She didn't leave a rented apartment. She got another mortgage and did the same thing she did in the first one. She created cash flow. Now she owns the houses without using our own personal money for the house. I don't know whether you know what I'm saying. As she using debt for good, and two, she was smart about it. Because when you say you want to live in a house, you are incurring costs, maintenance costs. A house that you are staying in is not an asset. I'm so sorry. I should have mentioned that as one of the myths. Yes, your house is not an asset. That should be the topic of this myth. Your house is not an asset because you are living there, you're incurring maintenance costs. An asset is something that makes you money. Your house is not making you money. Honestly, don't be obsessed. If you can actually afford a house and then you have other asset forms that is bringing in cash, it's fine. But for the fact that you want to strive to just live in a house because you feel like you're enriching your landlord, that is completely wrong. Don't think that way. Be smart about it. Right, there's nothing that stops from building a house and renting it out, getting rent from it each year. If you're in Nigeria, we pay rent yearly. Each year, using that rent, maybe part of it to make sure that it funds your own rented apartment. Still gather more money and see what you can do more with that money. If you cannot even build at the moment, buy the land. Just know that you have a land that is appreciating for you, right? Don't strive to build. You can even buy a land, and that money that you think that you want to strive to build a house that later in a few years you feel like it's not up to par anymore because you rushed to build because you wanted to live in it, use that money to still buy more land. Keep buying more land so you can conveniently build a house and live in it, and know that you have other assets that are producing cash for you. Because your personal house, my dear, is not an asset. That'll be where I will draw the curtains for today. If there's any other myth that you feel I didn't talk about, or definitely there are other ones that I've not talked about, please drop it in the comments. Let us discuss all about it. If you learned something from today, please tell me that thank you in the comments, and convert your thank you to sharing my video, please. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you again in the next video next week by the grace of God. My name is Esosa, and this channel is just where you want to be.